The room erupted in laughter when the metallic confetti cannon hit my face point blank, masking the sharp, burning sensation in my left eye. Everyone thought it was just my sister's hilarious, playful prank to get a viral reception video, until I clamped my hand over my face and refused to open it. "Stop being a drama queen and ruining my moment," my sister hissed, grabbing my wrist to pull my hand away. But the laughter died instantly when an elderly family friend, a retired optometrist, rushed forward, looked past my fingers, and turned dead pale. He didn't see paper confetti. He saw a tiny piece of crushed, painted metal lodged near my pupil, disguised to look like glitter. 3 days later, that same guest reviewed his high-definition video footage. What he caught on camera wasn't a wedding mishap. It was a calculated act of sabotage that blew my sister's entire life wide open. My name is Clara. I'm 27 years old, and if you asked anyone in my family to describe me, they'd probably call me the difficult daughter. I'm an interior designer, a job where every detail matters and nothing is left to chance. My older sister, Vanessa, who is 29, loves her life in the complete opposite way. She's the golden child, spoiled, manipulative, and obsessed with social media validation. Growing up, Vanessa could break a 100-year-old family heirloom, and our parents would blame the wind. When Vanessa announced her wedding, I wanted no part of the circus. But to keep the peace, I put on a smile and showed up at the lavish reception, hoping to get through the night without any drama. Vanessa, wearing a gown that cost more than my first car, spent the entire evening glued to a camera crew, desperately trying to stage viral moments for her followers. I stayed near the back, nursing a glass of champagne and counting down the minutes until I could politely leave. I thought if I stayed quiet, I'd be safe. I was wrong. Towards the middle of the evening, the music shifted to a high-energy pop track, and Vanessa suddenly motioned for me to join her on the center of the dance floor. She held a microphone in one hand and a sleek, custom-built party cannon in the other, flashing a wide, theatrical smile for the cameras surrounding us. "Everyone look," she announced into the mic, her voice dripping with artificial sweet affection. "I want to share a special, fun moment with my little sister." Before I could even react or step back, Vanessa aimed the heavy cylinder directly at my face, not into the air but point-blank at my eyes, and twisted the base.
Bang!
A violent burst of metallic confetti slammed into my face with terrifying force. A sudden, sharp, agonizing pain pierced straight into my left eye, like a hot needle plunging beneath the lid. I let out a sharp cry and instantly fell to my knees, clamping both hands tightly over my face to block out the blinding agony. The room erupted into loud, collective laughter, assuming it was just a harmless, playful prank for her video. But as I groaned on the floor, Vanessa leaned down, grabbed my wrist tight, and tried to forcibly yank my hand away from my face. "Stop being such a drama queen and ruining my video," she hissed under her breath. "Open your eye and laugh." The sea of laughter quickly began to falter as I remained curled on the polished floor, trembling and unable to lift my head. That was when Dr. Eris, a longtime family friend and retired eye specialist in his 60s, pushed his way through the crowd of cheering guests. Sensing that something was deeply wrong, he knelt beside me, placing a calm, steady hand on my shoulder. "Clara, let me see," he said softly, his professional instincts kicking in over the background noise. He gently pried my hands away from my face and pulled out his phone, shining the bright flashlight directly into my left eye. The moment the light illuminated my eye, Dr. Eris froze. His face drained of color, and his expression shifted from calm concern to absolute horror. He wasn't looking at soft paper foil or harmless biodegradable glitter. Embedded right near my pupil was a jagged microfragment of sharpened metal, painted with a reflective metallic coating to look like party confetti. "Don't move your eye, Clara," Dr. Eris instructed, his voice tense and low as he stood up to block the videographer's lens. My parents rushed over, trying to laugh it off and brush the situation aside as an unfortunate allergic reaction to cheap party supplies. But Dr. Eris turned to them with a cold, piercing glare. "This isn't an allergy," he said firmly. "Someone put metal in that cannon. She needs an emergency room right now." At the hospital, the emergency room surgeon managed to extract the tiny metal shard without permanent damage to my vision, though I was left wearing a protective eye patch and strict instructions to rest. But back at the wedding venue, Dr. Eris wasn't resting. Suspicious of how a sharp piece of metal ended up in a commercial party cannon, he reached out to the wedding videographer and requested access to the raw 4K footage recorded throughout the night. Sitting in his home office, Dr. Eris zoomed in and reviewed the footage frame by frame. What he discovered was chilling. 10 minutes before the toast, the video captured Vanessa stepping behind the head table, pulling a standard factory-sealed confetti cannon from her bag and replacing it with a modified cylinder she had brought herself. The camera clearly showed her double-checking the customized device before walking toward me with a smirk. When Dr. Eris brought this discovery to my parents, expecting them to be outraged, their reaction was sickening. Instead of demanding answers from Vanessa, my mother called me from the hospital waiting room, pleading with me not to make a scene. "It was just an unfortunate accident, Clara," she insisted, her voice tight with anxiety. "Vanessa is on her honeymoon. You can't ruin her dream wedding memory over a silly party joke gone wrong." As I lay in my quiet apartment recovering, one question burned in my mind. Why would Vanessa risk blinding me over a simple wedding prank? I knew she was petty, but this was a level of cruelty that made no sense. That was when I remembered a certified letter I had received 2 weeks prior regarding our late grandmother's estate. I pulled the document from my desk drawer and began reading through the fine print. Grandmother had set up a legal trust fund that stipulated a $200,000 disbursement directly to me on my 27th birthday. However, there was a strict hidden clause. If I failed to sign the official trustee documents in person by the end of the month due to incapacity or absence, the entire sum would automatically roll over to Vanessa to cover her wedding expenses. I connected the dots, and my stomach dropped. Vanessa wasn't just chasing social media views. She was drowning in massive, hidden debts from her extravagant wedding. She knew about the trust fund clause. If she caused a severe medical emergency that kept me hospitalized or incapacitated for just a few days, the deadline would pass, and the money would be legally transferred into her hands. The party cannon hadn't been an accident. It was a desperate, calculated act of sabotage. 4 days later, I called a mandatory family meeting at my apartment under the guise of settling the trust fund paperwork before the deadline expired. Vanessa and her new husband, Mark, arrived looking smug, expecting me to hand over the inheritance without a fight. My parents sat beside them, offering uncomfortable smiles. But their confidence vanished the moment Dr. Eris walked into the living room, accompanied by a legal representative and a laptop. "What is he doing here?" Vanessa snapped, her eyes narrowing as she glared at Dr. Eris. "This is a private family matter." Without saying a word, Dr. Eris set the laptop on the coffee table and hit play. High-definition 4K video filled the screen, showing the exact moment Vanessa swapped out the safe party cannon for her modified cylinder. The zoom-in clearly captured her carefully adjusting the altered chamber packed with metallic debris. Mark's face went completely pale as he stared at the screen, turning to look at his new bride in utter disbelief. "Vanessa, what did you do?" Mark whispered, his voice trembling with horror. "It's fake. It's an edited video." Vanessa shrieked, jumping to her feet as her voice cracked with panic. But the legal representative stepped forward, opening a formal folder containing police report filings and bank statements exposing her hidden wedding debts. Facing undeniable video evidence and immediate criminal charges for intentional assault and fraud, Vanessa collapsed back onto the sofa, sobbing hysterically as her carefully crafted facade finally shattered. The legal fallout was swift and decisive. Faced with a mountain of video evidence and a pending criminal investigation, Vanessa was forced to sign a legally binding confession, relinquishing any claims to grandmother's estate and agreeing to pay full restitution for my medical bills. Incapable of staying with a woman who lied about debt and attempted sabotage, Mark filed for an annulment just 2 weeks later. With the trust fund money safely secured in my name, I officially cut ties with my parents, who still tried to justify Vanessa's actions as a desperate mistake. I used a portion of the inheritance to expand my interior design practice and move to a new city, leaving their endless drama far behind me. I healed completely, but the lesson remained permanently etched in my mind. True family doesn't blind you for their own gain, and sometimes standing up for yourself is the only way to see the truth clearly.